Hey, good morning, everybody. Or maybe it's not morning when you're watching this. Maybe it's afternoon. Maybe it's evening. Well, hey, hi. Glad you could tune in to this week's message for the kids and youth from Atkinson Congregational Church. We are the light on the hill where no matter who you are or where you are on life's journey, you are welcome. I am Pastor Jim, and I'm really glad that you got a chance to tune in to this week's message. So, everybody knows what this is, right? It's a balloon. But for a minute, I want you to pretend that the balloon is a person. And I want you to pretend that every breath of air I blow into this balloon are actions or words that hurt this person's feelings. So, what do you think will happen if this person's feelings keep getting hurt over and over again, and you just keep blowing more balloon breath into the balloon as the person's feeling gets hurt more and more? What's going to happen? That's right. The person will go pop or kablooey, which means that the one balloon suddenly became different pieces of a balloon. It might look like this one. So I talk about the balloon today because in today's story from the Bible, Jesus is teaching his disciples how to talk to each other. And what he really wants them to understand is that if one person gets their feelings hurt by another person, then that person needs to talk to the person who hurt his or her feelings. The reason Jesus told his disciples how to talk to each other is because he didn't want them to go pop, just like that balloon. Now, obviously, disciples are not balloons, so here's what's going pop might have looked like for the disciples. Maybe they'd stop talking to each other, or they'd stop working together, or maybe they would have stopped being friends and gone away from each other. Jesus wants the disciples to know that they don't have to store up their hurt feelings until they go pop and then stop being friends. And that's why Jesus is telling them to talk to each other when one of them has been hurt, because that's how they can stay gathered together, even if difficult things happen to them or between them. Staying friends is a good reason to practice what Jesus is teaching to his disciples in today's story, but there's another important reason why Jesus wants his disciples to stay together. At the end of today's story, Jesus says that wherever two or more of his disciples are gathered, that is where Jesus is too. In other words, Jesus knows the best way for the disciples to be able to teach each other what he's taught them is if they stay together and work together. Later, in a few weeks, we're going to see an example of that Jesus's words work. We'll see that the disciples do what Jesus was teaching them in today's story, and then we see them get into difficult situations and have difficult conversations with each other, but they manage to stay together. By following Jesus' teaching from today's story, the disciples were able to stay together and to share with each other the same things that Jesus taught them about God's love and forgiveness and healing. And guess what? The same thing is still true for us today. When we follow Jesus' teachings from today's story, we're better able to stay together and work together just like the disciples. So we don't let this become this. All right, let's close with a prayer. It's a repeat after me prayer, so repeat back to me what I say to you. You ready? Here we go. Dear God, thank you for Jesus, who teaches us how to stay and work together so we can better share your love and healing with others. Thank you and amen. All right, thanks for tuning in for this week's message from Atkinson Congregational Church, I'm Pastor Jim. Really glad that you could be here. Hope to see you again next week. Until then, take care. Enjoy your Labor Day weekend. Get out and enjoy the beautiful weather. And remember, don't let your balloon get too full, and don't fill up anybody else's balloon too full. Learn how to live and work together. Bye-bye.